Welcome back, everybody, to the deep dive. We're going to be really diving deep today into AI business models.
Yeah,
And, this is a topic that's obviously,
it's a hot one.
it's a hot one. It's everywhere you look. But
Right.
we're going to be looking at issue #62
hmm
of the Synthetic Work newsletter
Okay.
called Distributing Superpowers, which I think is a really evocative title.
It is, and it gets at something really fundamental about this technology because we talk a lot about, the technical capabilities and the rapid pace of development. But when you really get down to it, this is about how power gets redistributed
Yeah.
in a very profound way.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I found so interesting about this article is they start off by talking about OpenAI. And this idea that OpenAI is kind of like I don't know if this is jumping the gun here, but like the Google of AI.
Well, it's funny you should say that because that's one of the first things that came to my mind reading this article is,
Yeah.
we talk about, the Google of this and the Amazon of that. And,
What?
it's often hyperbole, but I think in this case, it really is apt.
Right.
OpenAI has their fingers in everything,
It's true.
just like Google did in its early days. And they're doing it all really, really well.
They're incredibly competent.
Yeah.
And not only that, but they are very well aware of their position in the market.
Mm.
And the article actually quotes Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI.
Right.
And he's basically saying, look, a lot of you AI startups out there, you're playing a very dangerous game right now.
He's not mincing words.
He's not mincing words.
And he's right to issue that warning, I think, because one of the points he makes is that if your entire business model hinges on doing what ChatGPT does, but just slightly better,
Yeah,
you're in trouble.
you're in trouble.
Because OpenAI could release an update tomorrow
Right.
and completely wipe out those marginal gains.
Exactly.
You're betting against the house.
Well, it's like trying to start a car company from scratch
Right.
to compete with Tesla.
Yeah,
You are up against an absolute behemoth
absolutely.
with effectively unlimited resources.
Yeah, it seems like that.
The best and the brightest minds and the momentum and the brand recognition
The data.
and the data.
Don't forget the data.
Yeah, so
It's an uphill battle, to put it mildly.
it's an uphill battle. And
Yeah,
so
sure.
if OpenAI has all of the cards, so to speak,
Mhm.
what's the right move for other companies? You know, if you can't out-tech them,
Right.
what can you do?
Well, the article argues, and I think pretty persuasively, that it's not about out-touching them.
Hmm?
It's about outsmarting them.
Interesting.
And they don't mean outsmarting in terms of building a better AI, whatever that means,
Right.
but by focusing on distribution.
Distribution.
Yeah.
So it's not about the AI itself,
Yeah.
but how it gets to the end user.
Yeah. It's a subtle distinction,
That's really interesting.
but a powerful one.
I did not expect that going into this article. I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be all about,
Well, if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But
but this is a different spin.
yeah,
So help me understand this a little bit better.
sure.
Because when I think distribution, I think, Amazon getting a package to my door in 2 days.
Right.
What does that mean in the context of AI?
Okay, so think of it this way.
Okay.
OpenAI is producing incredibly potent raw ingredients,
Mhm.
right? They've got the GPT-4s of the world. They're coming out with new models all the time.
Right.
That's the raw material.
Yeah.
But what they're not necessarily doing is figuring out how to use those ingredients in every possible dish.
Okay.
So other companies, the smart ones, are saying, okay, we're not going to try to make a better GPT-4.
Right.
We're going to take that and we're going to become master chefs.
I like it.
We're going to create gourmet meals
Okay.
tailored to very specific palates.
So less about competing on the ingredients themselves and more about how you refine those ingredients for a specific taste.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the example they give is a company called Harvey AI.
Oh.
And what Harvey AI is doing is they're not trying to build a better legal AI than ChatGPT.
Okay.
They're building a better ChatGPT experience for lawyers,
Oh, that's interesting.
which is a very different thing.
So like hyper-specific.
Hyper-specific.
Because lawyers have their own language.
Exactly.
Their own way of working. You could almost tailor an AI to be like a lawyer's perfect paralegal.
And that's exactly what they're doing, and they're not the only ones.
Really?
The article also mentions a company called OpenBB, which is doing something similar, but for stock analysts.
Oh, wow.
So taking that same core technology, but saying, okay, how do we make this sing for someone who spends their day, poring over spreadsheets and financial models?
So the secret sauce here
Yeah.
is finding that niche,
It seems to be.
becoming the absolute best,
Right.
the go-to solution
Right.
for that specific audience.
I think that's right. And it really does change the game because
Yes.
for the longest time, we've been in this mindset of, bigger is better.
Right.
It's all about building the most general purpose AI, the one that can do it all.
The one that can do it all.
But what this suggests is that there's this other vector,
Right.
which is specialization over generalization.
So you're saying that in a world where the core tech is as powerful as it's becoming,
Right.
that almost levels the playing field in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then the real battleground
Yeah.
is how do you make it sing
It's the user experience.
for that very particular user?
It's the user experience, and it's about that deep understanding of the user's needs and pain points.
Yeah, this was really making me rethink things
Yeah.
because I came into this thinking, okay, it's all about who's got the best algorithm,
Right.
who's got the most data.
Right.
But what you're saying is
Well, it's still important,
it's still important, but
but it's table stakes at this point.
it's table stakes.
It's like saying, oh, you got to have a good engine in your car.
Right.
Well, yeah, of course you do, but what makes it a great car?
Yeah.
It's the design. It's the handling. It's the feeling you get when you're behind the wheel.
It's a whole package.
Exactly.
So if we're thinking about OpenAI as this powerhouse,
Right?
this is how you almost build your own little kingdom.
That's a great way to put it.
Even if it's a smaller kingdom, you're still the king of that domain.
You're the king of that niche, and you're catering to those specific needs.
Yeah, this is fascinating.
And I think that's what's so exciting about this moment in AI is that we're starting to see those battle lines being drawn.
Yeah.
It's not just this free-for-all anymore where it's like, oh, whoever gets the biggest brain wins.
Right.
It's much more nuanced than that.
It's a much more human game
It is a much more human game.
than I think a lot of us realize,
I agree.
which I guess is kind of ironic in a way.
A little bit, yeah.
It makes me wonder then, because OpenAI is not the only other player in town.
That's right.
What are some of the other companies that are shaking things up? Are there other approaches that we should be paying attention to?
Oh, absolutely. There are. And the article actually delves into another really interesting development, which is Meta's Llama.
Okay, Llama.
Llama?
Every time I hear about a new AI, it feels like we're populating a zoo or something.
Menagerie out there. It's this.
It is.
It's a whole menagerie of AI creatures.
But Llama now, that's a new one for me. Tell me more about that.
So Meta's strategy with Llama seems to be quite different from OpenAI's.
Okay.
And this is where the distribution angle gets even more interesting.
Okay, now you've got me. I'm hooked.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Right.
Meta obviously has a massive user base.
You do.
Billions of people use Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp.
Right.
And their approach with Llama seems to be less about competing head-on with OpenAI's technology
Okay.
and more about weaving AI into the products that they already have.
Which, knowing Meta, probably means a heavy focus on advertising and keeping people on their platforms.
It's a safe bet to assume that, yeah,
Right.
their business model is built around engagement and attention.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets really interesting for other companies. Okay.
This move by Meta, this integrating AI into their existing ecosystem,
Yeah.
inadvertently opens up this whole new layer of distribution.
Okay, now how does that work?
So think about it this way.
Okay.
They're normalizing AI for everyday users,
Okay.
right?
Hmm.
They're making it so that people are interacting with AI without even necessarily realizing it.
Right.
It's becoming a seamless part of experiences they already use constantly.
Okay.
And that lays the groundwork for other companies to come in and build on top of that.
So kind of like the iPhone.
Exactly.
The iPhone comes out and suddenly there's this explosion of apps
Right.
because they've created the platform
Built the rails.
and then everyone else can build on top of it.
Exactly. And I think
Yeah.
that's what we're going to see with Meta.
They're providing the rails, and now other companies can build AI-powered experiences on top of that.
That's huge because now you're plugging into
A massive existing user base.
billions of users.
Exactly.
It's like a gold rush.
It is.
But instead of picks and shovels, it's algorithms and user interfaces.
It is, and it's going to be fascinating to see who comes out on top in this new gold rush.
This is incredible. This whole AI landscape just feels so much bigger now than it did.
It is a massive space, and it's evolving so rapidly.
Yeah.
And I think what's so valuable about this article is that it doesn't just lay out the what.
Right.
It gets into the why behind these trends.
And I think more importantly for our listeners, the so what.
Absolutely.
So what does all of this mean
Right.
for someone who's not building the next ChatGPT, for someone who's not running $1 billion tech company?
That's the question.
Like, how do we as individuals or as smaller companies
Yeah.
wrap our heads around this and potentially even thrive in this new world?
And I think the article really hammered home this point for me.
Okay.
In the age of AI, it's not enough to build a better mousetrap.
You have to build a better
Mousetrap experience.
mousetrap experience.
Exactly.
Okay, explain that one too.
It's not just about the functionality.
Oh, yeah.
It's about the user's interaction with that functionality.
Okay.
It's about understanding your user, so completely anticipating their needs,
Right.
that the AI becomes not just useful, but enjoyable to use.
It's like that old saying, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. But I think in this case, it's more like they buy how you make them feel
Lines at the feel.
while they're using it.
Absolutely.
So it's about that emotional connection,
That's a really good point.
that sense of empowerment when a tool just gets you.
It just works the way you think it should.
Yeah. And it anticipates your needs before you even have them.
And it makes you feel good to use it,
Oh.
which sounds almost counterintuitive when we're talking about AI.
So are you saying that on top of technical skills, emotional intelligence is the new frontier?
I think it's a core competency now. Being able to read the user, anticipate their needs, design an experience that resonates on that deeper level.
This is making me rethink the whole AI revolution.
Yeah.
You know, because I think for so long, it's been about robots taking over the world and, you know, job displacement and all this
A
stuff.
Terminator scenario.
But really what you're saying is that maybe this is more about unlocking human potential
I think so.
in ways that we never thought possible.
I think you're right. And I think the article really highlights that this idea that generative AI
Right.
isn't just about speeding up what we already do.
Right.
It's about enabling us to do things we couldn't even imagine before.
It's like we're on the verge of unlocking superpowers
Exactly.
that we didn't even know we had,
Yeah.
which is both exhilarating and terrifying.
It's a powerful cocktail of emotions, for sure.
Because with great power comes great responsibility.
Always.
Right. And so it does kind of beg the question, if this distribution model, if this laser focus on user experience is the name of the game moving forward, what does that mean for innovation itself?
It's a great question, and I don't think anyone has a definitive answer.
Right.
But it's something that we need to be thinking about, because
Absolutely.
if everyone's just building on top of OpenAI
Right.
or plugging into Meta's world, does that mean that true disruption is off the table?
Yeah. Are we stuck in this world where a few giants control the keys to the kingdom?
It's a valid concern.
It is a concern.
But I think, as the article points out, there's always the potential for a wild card.
Okay.
Someone with a radical idea, a completely new approach that no one sees coming.
So there's still hope for this scrappy startup.
I think so.
The underdog with a crazy idea that could change everything.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank goodness.
Because that's the beauty of this space, right?
Yeah.
It's constantly in flux.
It's so dynamic.
It's this dance between the established giants and the ambitious newcomers,
Yeah.
between incremental improvements and those aha moments that rewrite the rules entirely.
Well, I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but my head is spinning.
Mine too.
This whole conversation has been such a roller coaster.
It's a lot to process.
It's inspiring, it's thought-provoking, and honestly, it's a little overwhelming.
I agree, it's a lot to take in, but I think that's the sign of a good deep dive, isn't it?
It is.
It should leave you with more questions than answers,
It should.
but with a renewed sense of curiosity about the world around us.
Absolutely. And a hunger, I think, to learn more, to see where this all goes next. Well, listeners, we hope that this deep dive into AI business models has left you feeling similarly energized,
Yeah.
informed,
Yeah.
and maybe even a little inspired.
Inspired to unlock those superpowers.
So uncover the superpowers hidden within your own world.
Exactly, because who knows? The next great disruption might be just around the corner,
That's right.
waiting for someone with the right vision to bring it to life.
And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the possibilities. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
You're right to bring that up, because the article dives into another fascinating development, Meta's Llama.
Go llama.
Llama.
Every time I hear about a new AI, it feels like we're populating a zoo or something.
It's a menagerie out there.
It is a whole menagerie of AI creatures.
It really is, and each one with its own little quirks and personalities almost.
Right. It's like almost like they're trying to out-animal each other at this point.
Exactly, and Meta's no exception.
So tell me about this llama. What is it? What's it all about?
So Meta's strategy with Llama seems to be quite different from OpenAI's.
Okay.
And this is where the distribution angle gets even more interesting.
Okay, now you've got me hooked. Tell me more.
All right, so let's break it down.
Okay.
Meta obviously has a massive user base,
They do billions of people
billions with a B,
on Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp.
all those properties,
Yeah.
yeah. And their approach with Llama seems to be less about competing head on with OpenAI's technology, in terms of like raw processing power or whatever.
Right?
It's more about saying, okay, we have this incredible reach.
Okay.
We have billions of people who use our platforms every single day.
Right.
How do we weave AI into that? How do we make it a seamless part of the experience?
So almost like they're playing a different game
They are, in a sense,
in OpenAI.
because OpenAI's game is like, we're the platform, we're the technology.
Come build on us.
Come build on us. Whereas Meta's like, we're going to take this and we're going to inject it into everything we do.
Which, knowing Meta, probably means a heavy focus on advertising and keeping people on their platforms.
Probably. Yeah, I mean, their business model is built around engagement and attention.
Right.
So
Well,
it's a
this-
pretty safe bet that that's going to be a big part of it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
It will.
But I'm curious, from a business model perspective,
Yeah.
how does Meta make money from this?
Okay, so that's the really interesting part, right? Because
Mhm.
on the surface, it's like, okay, they're going to use AI to serve you more targeted ads,
Right?
which they are going to do.
Which they're already doing.
Yeah, they're already doing it and they're going to get better at it.
Right, and more sophisticated with it.
Exactly. But here's where it gets really interesting for other companies.
Okay.
This move by Meta, this integrating AI into their existing ecosystem,
Yeah.
it inadvertently opens up this whole new layer of distribution.
Okay, now how does that work?
So think about it this way.
Okay.
They're normalizing AI for everyday users,
Okay.
right? They're making it so that people are interacting with AI without even necessarily realizing it.
Okay, so like I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed
Exactly.
and an AI is deciding what I see.
Or maybe it's suggesting friends for you,
Right.
or,
Or-
auto-captioning your
Oh,
photo.
like stuff that's already happening.
Exactly.
It's going to get more and more sophisticated.
Exactly. And it's becoming so seamless
Okay.
that people won't even think twice about it.
It'll just be a part of the experience.
It'll just be part of the experience, and that lays the groundwork for other companies to come in and build on top of that.
So it's like they're building the infrastructure,
They are.
almost like the roads,
The rails.
and then other companies can build the cars
That's a great analogy.
that drive on those roads.
Yeah, and I think we're already seeing the early stages of that.
Really?
There are companies that are building tools specifically designed to work within the Meta ecosystem.
So it's almost like a gold rush.
It is.
But instead of picks and shovels, it's algorithms and user interfaces.
Exactly. And the thing about gold rushes is that
Yeah.
you don't necessarily have to be the one who finds the gold. You can be the one selling the picks and shovels.
Or the blue jeans or whatever.
Or the blue jeans,
Right.
or the food, or the hotels. Like, there's a whole ecosystem that pops up around these new frontiers.
So what you're saying is that Meta is almost
Creating a new frontier.
a new frontier.
In a way, yeah. And it's going to be fascinating to see who comes out on top in this new gold rush.
It's like we're on the verge of unlocking superpowers
Yeah,
we didn't even know we had,
it's true.
which is both exhilarating and terrifying at the same time.
It's a powerful cocktail of emotions for sure. And it's something the article really brings home, this tension
Yeah,
between this incredible potential and then also the uncertainty of it all.
absolutely, because
Yeah.
with great power comes great responsibility.
Always.
Right, and so it begs the question, if this distribution model, if this laser focus on user experience is the name of the game moving forward, what does that mean for innovation itself?
That's $1 million question, isn't it? And I don't think anyone has a definitive answer,
Right,
but it's something that we need to be thinking about because,
because if everyone's just building on top of OpenAI
right?
or plugging into Meta's world, are we going to be stuck in this world?
Right. Is this the end of disruption?
Yeah, like is true disruption off the table?
Right. Have we hit peak innovation? Are we just going to be iterating on these platforms from now until eternity?
Yeah, are we stuck in this world where a few giants control the keys to the kingdom?
It's a valid concern. It's something that people are thinking about a lot these days, and rightfully so, I think. But
It is a concern.
But there's also, I think, a reason to be cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
Because as the article points out, there's always the potential for a wild card.
Okay, so you're saying there's still hope
I think so.
for the scrappy startup,
Yeah.
the underdog, with a crazy idea that could change everything.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the beauty of technology, right?
Yeah,
It's not always about who has the most money or the most resources.
yeah, it can be about who has the best idea.
It's about who has the best idea and who can execute on that idea.
And sometimes those things come together
They do.
in the most unexpected of places.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes this whole space so exciting.
It's so dynamic.
It's constantly in flux. And just when you think you know what's going to happen,
Yeah, you think you've got it all figured out.
something changes the game entirely.
It's like a constantly shifting landscape.
It is. And you got to stay on your toes.
You got to stay agile. You got to be adaptable.
Absolutely.
Well, on that note, I think we've done a pretty deep dive here
I think so.
into the world of AI business models.
Yeah, and this article by Synthetic Work really, I think, does a great job of laying out the landscape.
It does. It's thought-provoking. It's
Well, right.
challenging.
Gets you thinking.
It gets you thinking. And I think it leaves you with more questions than answers, honestly.
It does.
But in a good way.
In a good way, it sparks that curiosity.
It does, and hopefully some inspiration as well.
Absolutely.
So, listeners, we hope that this deep dive into AI business models has left you feeling similarly, you know, energized,
Yeah.
informed,
Informed.
and maybe even a little inspired to find those superpowers
Yeah, unlock those superpowers
hidden within your own world.
in your own life and your own work.
Exactly. Because who knows?
Who knows?
The next great disruption
Next big thing.
might be just around the corner.
It might be something that no one's even thought of yet.
Exactly.
And that's exciting.
It is exciting. So, on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the possibilities until next time. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.